Marvels, the Marvels. Was it marvelous? Let's talk about it. So Marvel has just released their next movie, The Marvels, featuring Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, and Kamala Khan. And again, this ended up getting a bad score on with Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience score has proven to be a lot better since the release. Definitely showing fresh. So let's talk about what went on in this movie and where Marvel stands with their entire process for kind of setting up the next steps in their universes. So the movie starts off and it picks up right where. So if you haven't watched, again, spoilers ahead. If you haven't watched anything involving this, so that you definitely need to go back and watch Miss Marvel, the series. You kind of get an idea about Miss Marvel, and then it picks up right where that leaves off. So if you haven't already, stop, go watch that, come back and finish this video. So just make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. Now, this starts off with the Supreme Intelligence. Well, we already know about that back from the actual Captain Marvel movie. The Supreme Intelligence was destroyed, and that caused a civil war among everybody on Hala. All right, so the Kree are kind of going at it. They are fighting over whatever else is going on, and it's just causing a problem. They've lost their oxygen, their atmosphere. They've lost their water. They've lost their sun. Their sun has died out because of the war. This war has been going on for probably a period of about 30 years or so. Dar-benn, who was a victim of the Annihilator, Captain Marvel's assault on that base to destroy the Supreme Intelligence, has been running the show for a while and ends up finding, one half of the quantum bands. Going to find out that that same quantum band is the same thing that Kamala wears. So now we know that, it came from somewhere. Here's one half. Where's the other one? Which begs another question later on we'll come around to. But basically, she takes the band. She uses the power to rip open a hole so that she can kind of siphon off whatever else that she needs from these other worlds that she wants to get to pull into her own world. That's the whole setup for this. So she opens up the hole. She understands how it works, and that causes an irregularity. This irregularity causes Sword to be, warned, and they're like, all right, well, we need to go check it out. So Fury gets on the horn. He calls Carol. Is like, hey, I need you to go check it out, see what's going on. And the process is they have their own jump point that's near them. And you've seen these jump points if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, so you know all these jump points work. Monica is there, and she has her light power, so she's like, all right, let me go check it out on this end over here. And she's like right outside the window from Fury. So she goes to investigate jump point, and when she touches it, while using her powers, and same thing, everybody goes use their powers. So Carol goes use her powers, and Kamala, who's just kind of chilling in her room, was using her powers, and all three immediately get switched. So pretty much they just spend that entire time switching places through and through as they're kind of investigating, what's happening. Like they don't know what's going on, but every time they use their powers, they're switching now. So they eventually end up running into Kree warriors who have been kind of placed or whatever. And these Kree warriors that Carol will start fighting ends up kind of getting transported through with everyone else. So if they end up grabbing somebody while they're fighting, they're pulling them through. So now you got Kree warriors fighting up in the space station. You got Kree warriors fighting up in Kamala's house. You got Kree warriors fighting, wherever Carol is, kind of going to figure out, hey, where does this whole anomaly come from? So as they're kind of going back and forth fighting the Kree, eventually they defeat them and they return to their original places. Eventually, Fury and Monica got to go find out what's going on. So they go talk to Kamala and find out what she knows. And Kamala's, hey, yep, this is her dream. She's been wanting to be Avenger for a while. So she ends up using her powers and ends up switching with, Carol. And after, a few more switches back and forth, they figure out that, okay, all their powers are light based, and they've been entangled through the, like a quantum network. So anytime two or more of them uses their powers, they swap. So if all three uses their powers, then they all swap. So this is something that they just kind of deal with for now, and they end up having to meet up at a Skrull refugee camp, and this is on Tarnax, and peace talks that were supposed to have been going on between the Kree and the Skrull have stalled. So because of these have stalled, dar-benn has already kind of got something she's after, and she's just like, you know what? I don't care about none of this. I got what I was after. Now I need to take the rest of the stuff that I need, which is the atmosphere. So she ends up opening up a jump point there, and she's using this jump point to siphon off the atmosphere of Tarnax to try to restore the air on Hala. This causes a whole bunch of course, bad blood between a lot of people, but now it's an impromptu rescue mission. So they got to jump around, try and get as many people rescued as they can. They're not able to rescue everybody, so some people are gonna die. Some of these, Skrulls are gonna die, while the Kree, get what they're after. This is kind of like a hard lesson, kind of for Kamala, and I mean it's for Carol, because Carol's got to make the tough choices, and she's yelling at Kamala because of it, and Kamala's trying to get that understanding. So it's like, yeah, this is like real life stakes. This isn't just kind of a game, even though Kamala's still very excitable. So quick effort, they get everything evacuated, and eventually they end up kind of getting some information where it's like, all right, well, let me explain to you about the quantum bands, because it's kind of like a legend that Carol already knew about. So she explains to him about the quantum bands and what goes on that, and those are what created the jump point network that they're able to use. Like you've seen rockets, he'll jump through 50 points at once, and what it does to you. So the fact is that this jump point network can be destabilized by these quantum bands. Since they was created it, it's a problem. They got to get these bands and figure out what's going on, as well as trying to save these planets. So that's the whole big thing. Now, they've deduced all this, that all their powers are entangled when they kind of touch stuff, and it's mainly between Carol and Monica because they touch stuff, and between Kamala because again she has on the band, and that's what helped activate her powers. But again, the band is just a part of it. Kamala's powers are light based because her new kind of thing now is hard light, so she has that hard light energy where one can see light and one can produce light. So they're all light based and stuff, and the band is literally just a quantum band at this point. It has no more bearing on Kamala's powers. Now, dar-benn is going to be just kind of ripping up whatever it is she needs to get to, get Hala back in order. So they end up finding out after they do a whole little montage. They got a montage where they're kind of learning how to switch their powers and kind of prep for it, learning how to work in tandem. So a whole little training montage, a couple little bad memories kind of brought up, stuff, trying to figure out where the next target is. And eventually they figured out it's Aladna, which is like a water planet. They have like 99% surface of water or something like that, 97%, something like that. And Carol is actually a princess by some form of legality. So she's a Disney princess. Let's just throwing it out there. So basically, same thing that happened on Tarnax, same thing happened here. And it's showing up. They're kind of scrapping it out with everybody. They get their new costumes. They're all nice and fancy. And dar-benn is still kind of, giving them the business. Of course, she eventually finds out, oh, Kamala's got the other band. I need that. But they end up having to escape, and Kamala cannot let the band fall into the wrong hands. So they end up escaping, even though Carol didn't want to escape because she wanted to try and save everybody. She has a big gripe of being called the Annihilator because she's not trying to be that person. She's always trying to help. But that's something that stuck with her because of how many lives she more or less ruined when she destroyed the Supreme Intelligence. So that's kind of where that comes from. So Aladna just doesn't make it. So like they take the waters for that, and they had to escape. So they eventually figure out, okay, where's the last stop? The last stop is going to be Earth. These are all places that have some kind of significance to Carol. So that, again, trying to help the Skrulls figure their stuff out. She was a princess on this planet due to a certain reason. And then Earth, which is where she's from, they want the sun. So dar-benn's trying to get the sun. So basically, they got to go there, stop her from taking the sun. So a whole big, fight breaks out. Freaking, you got Goose. Goose has been kind of hanging out all the time, mainly hanging out with Fury. Uh, Goose is a female, and Goose has had babies at some point in time. So there's a lot of little Goose babies running around, and it's a clever little way they use that to kind of get people evacuated when stuff starts going crazy near the Earth's jump point. So the little Goose babies are snatching up all the workers and stuff inside, and easier to transport the cats, the flurkins, and get them to point and have them spit out everybody that they freaking ate up in their hammer space stomachs, however you want to put it. But eventually, fight goes down. Dar-benn ends up getting injured, and under false pretenses of surrender, she's like, "Yeah, I just wanted my planet back." And Carol's like, "I can help. I can do whatever I can to help you out and really get you, try and make this thing end and stuff like that." And they'll try to restart the sun. Like, that's the last thing we need to do. So let's try and help you restart the sun. She's like, "Yeah, let's try and figure something out." Nope, I just want the bangle. So she tries to kill Kamala. She eventually takes the bangle, and she uses the bangles to open this bigger rift in space time, pretty much. So it's not just a jump point; it's space time, because it's a lot more unstable, and Dar-benn could not handle it. So she ends up just fading away, like she got touched with the freaking power stone. Kind of, it's the same kind of thing. She just kind of falls to burns to shreds, kind of thing, and then she's gone, and just the bangles are left. So Kamala ends up retrieving both the bangles, and she's wearing both the bangles now, and she basically uses her power and focuses into Monica, while Carol does the same thing without the bangles, focuses a lot of her power into Monica, because Monica can see that it's a different dimension. She's the one who calls out that it's a different dimension, it's a different reality, other stuff going on there. And she's like, I can close it, because she has the more technical ability and stuff to fix things and see how the light works. So they basically supercharge her, and bam, she's off. She goes and sets up the whole thing. She closes the portal, which whole thing that kind of bugs me a little bit is like, why does she have to close the portal from the inside and not the outside? But either way, she gets it done, but that causes her to remain inside the other reality that was opened up. That's the biggest thing. So at that, Carol and Kamala kind of have a moment, and they return to Earth and kind of start picking up the pieces and make sure the family's okay and Fury's good, and try to figure out, I guess, what's next. Now, Kamala has already figured out what's next. And these are the big parts here that freaking got me excited. Kamala has already figured out what's next. She now has been inspired to start her own team, and she's presumably backed by Fury, since Kamala has access to his data files and everything, because they had data files of her when they came to see her. So she was playing with the thing like, oh, this is a cool new iPad. But now she has one of those pads, so I'm presuming that he let her keep, and she can kind of see information on other heroes and stuff that are around. So she ends up going to recruit, of all people, Kate Bishop. So Kate Bishop makes a cameo appearance in this movie. She talks to her and she's talking about making a team. She doesn't say what the team is that she's making. She says she's putting together a team. And that's fantastic, because we know that this is the Young Avengers. It's a setup for the Young Avengers. Even Ant-Man's daughter is mentioned by name, or I'll say by name, but she mentioned by Ant-Man has a daughter, so that's Stature. So it looks like there's 3 members set up to the team already. So Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, and Stature. So we got 3 members of the team right there. Other stuff can be, surmised from everything else that's happening. See, we already see Elijah Bradley, which could be Patriot. We saw Scar kind of hanging out, from She-Hulk. We got Ironheart, who's got really nothing else going on right now. So she's kind of floating out there. Speed and Wiccan were there, but they're not there. So don't know if they're going to be a factor or not. King the Conqueror, Nathaniel Richards, Iron Lad. So some of them don't really need that person, because we have Ironheart. So there's Echo. The show Echo comes out freaking in January. for that, which we will be covering. So that's another character. So there's got plenty of characters you can add to the list. So this kind of sets up a lot for the Young Avengers and how they want to run the Young Avengers to pretty much take over the 616, and they can get a lot of mileage out of them because they're the Young Avengers, so that you can do a lot of different storylines with them, as well as kind of keep them on contract for a while. So that's one of the biggest things that I got from the Marvels. The second thing is actually a mid credit scene, because all that took place during the movie. The actual mid credit scene where Monica, who was training in the other reality, she was picked up and she's like in the hospital bed, and now she's in the parallel universe where she's greeted by an alternate version of her mother. Maria is right there, but she's kind of covered up, so she's having her moment with mommy, like, "Hey, I missed you," so like that, and then she comes to a realization, like, "You're not my mother, are you?" So like that, and it's like, no, freaking, we see one of the greatest things happen as somebody walks by on screen. Again, man, this is set us up. Hank McCoy, Kelsey Grammer, the original Beast, walks by on screen and is like, he's like, "Hey, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with you. We found you." And he looks over, he's like, "Yo, Binary is the one who found you." So Maria, she stood up so that, and she's wearing her costume so that. And now I was talking to a young lady in the theater so that for a second, because I didn't quite hear the name. I thought freaking it was going to go by Quasar or something like that. I wasn't sure what name was being used for this. The symbols look similar so that, but Binary is who she was referred to by, and Charles Xavier was mentioned by name by Beast. So that sets up a lot of stuff for the MCU coming up, and I am very excited to see it. I'm probably going to do another video later and kind of just ramble on for a minute. It'll be a ramble video, like what are the possibilities and stuff from there. But overall, the Marvels itself was a good movie for what it was, to explain the characters, kind of show the team up, explain a bit more of the powers, and break into the other realities and kind of see where it's going to go from there. Because again, we don't know if Monica's going to get back or not, or she's going to stay there. Like, we don't know how that's going to work. But again, her powers are light based, so she's able to close the barriers. If maybe she's able to open it to get back at some point when there's a bigger threat. Say one of the Kangs or something like that coming in. Don't know, but stuck with me so far. I definitely appreciate you. Again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are here. We're going to talk about all this stuff as it comes up. And like I say, I am very excited to see what else Marvel has to offer. I will give this movie a solid 8 off first watch. I'm going to go watch it again tomorrow. Freaking shout out to my Marines who are out there. Freaking Marine Corps birthday is today, because it is early in the morning for me. Marine Corps birthday. So we were out to my other Marines with that. Freaking definitely shout out to you and to all veterans, because Veterans Day is on Saturday. So shout out to all my fellow veterans with that. Freaking, past and present. Like, hey, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being there. Thank you for paving the way for me with that, and us for paving the way for any newcomers coming along. So it's all good stuff. I'm going to leave it there. So I will catch y'all in the next one. Later.